So what I'm going to do here is I want to pose that same question to Ed Fantegrossi. I'm going to ask the panel one more question, and then I want to open it up for a Q&A. And Ed, if you could, you've shared the story before, but you built this business on your own back, and with relationships. Maybe you can give the audience a little bit of that process, what it was like, the ups and downs, in a 5-minute, about 5 minutes, and then I'm going to ask the whole panel one last question before the Q&A.
It was a good request other than the 5 minutes. Okay. Well, I think it's important to tie it back to younger than you. So for me, bootstrapping a business, the first thing that I did was at age 16, I used to install hot stereo systems. And I didn't steal them, but I was farmed out by my mom so that the inner city East Boston wouldn't create too many casualties in me, to uncles that were plumbers, electricians, carpenters. So I learned a lot of trades, physical trades. And so installing those stereo systems, I'd make $25. Took 4 hours, but I'd make $25. So one day, I had a teacher that I really respected, and he got this new car called the Peugeot, no stereo system in it. And I said, hey, because I wanted to try and do something back for him. I said, hey, I install these hot stereo systems. How about if I get one for you, and I'll install it for free. Here, thinking I was doing the right thing. The silence was deafening on his face. I knew that that was not the business I was supposed to continue with. But it was the first step. I began to realize that the negative in life becomes the positive. The motivation to achieve and to do, there's got to be a fire started somewhere. So, fast forwarding a bit, I managed to survive through those college years, in which, remember, I said I was just that middle-of-the-road student in high school, not realizing the importance of studying. Until I'm now a senior in college, and learned everything from my uncles and decided, you know what? I'm going to go and buy myself a rundown 3-family house, a place called Revere, Mass. Revere, Mass was known for a body found in the trunk once a month at the time. So I'm stating this because I'm just letting you know the grassroots of the grassroots. With money that was left over, knew that was the only money left over. My father was in the military, died. The little bit left over that was after money for college, I put $920 down on a rundown house that at the point was sold for $9,020, 10% deposit. I then, with the remaining money, $1,500, which was the last of everything, I did all of the construction work, from aluminum siding from flat stock material, making the kitchen cabinets, to doing all the electrical, all the plumbing. Not certain it was all up to code, but did all of that work. And 12 months later, lived inside of it, 6 months while finishing college, 6 months while in my first teaching job. My dog and I, we lived in sawdust and everything else, but 12 months later, sold the house for $28,000. Now my first year teaching salary was $6,750. So for an investment of $920 plus $1,500, and then the payoff, the balance of the $9,000, a little bit less than $9,000 on the house, I made considerably more than my teaching salary. So I did one house a year for the 7 years while I was teaching. Came to Connecticut, thought, okay, I'd be able to do bigger houses, and supposedly the school systems were better. I'm sharing with you now, Massachusetts school systems are better. And began to do a little bit bigger projects while teaching, until finally took a step and said, I'm going to go out there where there's no ground. I'm actually going to go to a place where there's no salary that's guaranteed. I'm actually going to just take a risk and see if somebody likes what I do. And went after doing my first renovation project for somebody, and they took a risk on me. I had confidence in myself until the day that you have all the materials delivered and you then say, what did I get myself into? Fast forwarding 400 houses later, a couple of shopping centers, ambulatory surgery center, one life care facility, and a whole bunch of high-tech data centers later. I'm at a place now where I still believe in the negative of my life ended up being the positive of everything that went on for me. And so we started a nonprofit foundation called the Internet Education Legal Access Foundation, .org. And really what it was a repository for, once again, starting out there and bootstrapping. There was nothing, there were no assets, there was just an ability of one human being communicating with another human being. Standing outside a place called Eemshaven in the Netherlands, in a rainstorm while the person who was in charge of global infrastructure for Tyco was having a cigarette, I said to him, would you mind considering if we trade something? I'll trade the labor for designing your global data and submarine cable landing facilities in exchange for you donating 10 gigabit submarine cable fiber across the Atlantic and across the Pacific. And he said yes. He didn't say yes because it was just a good deal for him. He said yes because we had already achieved landing a submarine cable in the northern region of the Netherlands that was never supposed to happen and never to be allowed, was supposed to land in a place called Northern Germany. But because we achieved it, we proved a little bit of value, and then he decided to take a chance on me. It has always been bootstrapping. It has always been starting from only having relationships and composing an idea and understanding that, as Lee had shared, it's about persistence, and it's about getting up the next day, and it's about analyzing what didn't you do yesterday? What did you not achieve? Because you see, in sports it's called the psych up. To me, I believe that life is all about psyching yourself up for the next day. And the psych up can't be a lie, it has to be the truth. And the truth about the psych up is an exercise that says, are you ready? I was that average student, spent the rest of college just trying to learn how to read and write. Because at the end of the day, everything that you're going to be facing has to be interpreted. Whether you're on your PDA and you're looking down at it and from texting to everything else, if you don't get how to read and you don't know then how to send your messages back in the colloquial language that you may be using, then you miss it. But when you're finally out there and you get a job, if you don't know how to read people and you don't know how to read their messages and you don't know how to communicate back with them, then you're blocking all of your pent-up desires of what you'd like to do simply because you haven't put the rest of the time in learning how to learn. So, I'm looking forward to more questions because I actually hate public speaking. I've always been shy, but one thing that I really love doing, I love being given a task of trying to get something done. And then figuring it out. Because you see, there's no formula, there's no clear stated answer. All of us up here on this panel, we might seem alike, but we truly are all different. And stylistically, how we have begun is all different. And I used to be ashamed and never wanted to say I grew up in East Boston. I used to try to mask it by, other kinds of things. But now I realize that negative was my positive. It was the motivation for every next day to then go back and analyze, what can I do a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more to figure it out? And, I'm really proud of my friend Ted here. Going into a hole and saying, all right, what was like type of certain people? What was not? And under the like type, how do I figure into that model? And then the resolve of the Nike statement at the other end, which is just do it. If you're sitting here and you think that you're different from me or anyone else on this panel, you're really wrong. Because we just have years of difference of time. And if you saw how black and blue our toes are from stubbing our toes as we decided to continue to go forward, you'd be shocked. So you're entitled to a gazillion times of stubbing your toe, falling down. You're not entitled to staying on the ground. You must get up and you must go. And I promise you, although you can't believe that you could be whatever success means, I promise you that if you get up, you will succeed. Your only option is stay on the ground, fall behind, and die. Not a good option.